Let's get into it. Look, moving different, you know I'm already custom made. Said you wanna play with me, there's just a different game. Trying to make it to the end, it's just a crazy maze. Here for the long, you know I'm about to make a play. I'm coming stronger, getting bigger, just a different day. 2020, tunnel vision, know I'm here to stay. Told my mama I had to leave, she prayed for better days. When I came back home, was loving all the praise. Keep the real ones around, not only fuck with apes. Now we banging on the chest just like a bathing ape. Now we getting all this money, never go astray. Just know I'm grinding to the top until I get the fame. It's more than the fame, I want the respect. I wanna show the world I can give it my best. Okay, post-traumatic stress just be keeping me pressed. Almost all my brothers died, now I'm paying the debt. It's like that. Welcome back, everybody, to Brothers in the Deep End, or should I say, for today's episode, Sister in the Deep End. Yes, you guys are hearing correctly. We have a woman for the first time on our platform today, so she's making history, and we thank her for coming today. But before we get into her story, we can't thank you guys enough for sharing, commenting, liking all of our videos. We can't thank you guys enough, and if we can change one life, that's all we care about, and that's why we're here. So, as me and Nathan were looking for someone to interview, I came across this restaurant in Brooklyn called South Brooklyn Foundry. My mother actually introduced it to me, and she told me that the woman who owned the place was a hustler, and she did everything she could during this pandemic to keep her business alive. So, you know, as every other person was, intrigued as I was, I ate at this restaurant, and the food was pretty damn impressive. I can't lie, I ate there probably now once or twice a week. I was like, wow, this is an experience you can't really get in Bay Ridge, and I was genuinely impressed with her food. So I brought it up to Ethan, and I told him a little bit about her and what she does and who she is. And he was like, man, we should definitely get her on. Let's do this. I think this is going to be awesome. So I reached out to her, and she agreed to talk to me and Nathan about her story on how she got out the deep end and the struggles she's been through and where she is now. We all know being a woman in today's world already comes with its set of struggles. And we're here today with the South Brooklyn Foundry owner, Kelly. And she's an all money in type of person. And she's risked everything. Like, when I mean everything, she's risked everything to be here today to keep her business alive for her future and her children and her workers. So we can't thank you enough for coming today, Kelly. And we want to have a little round of applause for you, coming in today. So a special thank you. And, just since you're here, we would love to just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, your upbringing. So tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Okay. My name is Agnes. First of all, everybody calls me Kelly because I don't like to be called Agnes.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Carroll Gardens, just right around here. I want to say I didn't have the greatest upbringing. There were a lot of struggles in my household, and it was like a rough upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say I kind of followed the wrong path in life, if you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I followed that wrong path. I didn't really have somebody that show me what to do or where to go. And so it brought me down a really bad path in my life. Oh God, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can let it out. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I got, life brought me really down really bad paths, and for a long time in my life, I followed these. I made really bad decisions, really bad decisions, and I always stood working though, and I found myself most comfortable working in the restaurant field.
Mm-hmm.
I was told I had a knack of selling things, and people liked me, and I could get along with people, and it always brought me, I guess, around people, and I like to be around people. I like to talk to people. I like to sell things. And I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
And so I want to say, through the early years of my life, I would go in and out of addiction. So I struggle a lot with alcohol, and I struggle a lot with drugs. So through my upbringing and not having someone to guide me, I was making a lot of bad decisions in my life. And I want to say a lot of bad things had to happen to me to get where I am now. So I worked for a restaurant down in Park Slope called Vinnie's of Carroll Gardens. I'm going to give them a plug.
Oh, nice, nice. Shout out.
Shout out to Vinnie's of Carroll Gardens. And the gentleman in there was like a father figure to me. And I was there for about 15 years. And he always told me that there was something bright that he saw in me. And, you know, he watched me through my struggles of my life. He watched me go, you know, there was like times where I would be good, and then there was times where I would be bad. So if I was good, I was really good. If I was bad, I was really bad. And he watched me, you know, I guess basically since I was a teenager till when I, you know, till now, he watches me. And he watched a lot of bad things happen to me and always told me, come on, you can stop.
I was gonna say, so what made you get into like the whole restaurant business? Like, what made you want to start like being a waitress and getting into like food? Like, did you always have like a passion for food?
I don't know if I had a passion for food. I had a passion for nightlife. I had a passion for being around people because, like I said, you know, growing up, I felt very alone.
Right. I was just about to connect the dots. You know, she felt alone. No one was really there for her. So it's just like she's trying to fill that void with something. And when she came in that industry, it just kind of filled that. And that was like her happy place, her medium. And she's still doing it now. My question to you is, damn, I had this good, amazing question. But like, what was those bad decisions, or like, what was like the low, you know, back in those days?
So it wasn't really that long ago. I want to say it was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I had been out for, like I say, about a weekend. And I came back home, and my daughter's father, I have an older daughter, she's 28. And my daughter's father and I were always very good friends. We weren't good as husband and wife, but he was always like my best friend. And I want to say that about 12 and a half years ago, I found him deceased in a room with my daughter's boyfriend. And I want to say that, you know, that was something that was supposed to snap me out and tell me, you know, you're traveling the wrong path. But it didn't. It didn't. I want to say about 6 to 8 months after that, I found my best friend, and she was deceased after that. And that's when I was like, yo, you have to stop. You have 2 children. You need to stop. You need to get on the right path. And I would go in and out of this program. I mean, it's supposed to be AA. I would go in and out of these rooms of AA. And I met this one woman in there, and she always followed me from back, like she's like the mother figure that I was missing in my life. And she always stood by my side. And when I really decided to get back on track, she held my hand. And I want to say it was like April 15th will be 8 years I'll have clean and sober. And she helped me through that April 15th. Yeah, 2015, 16.
You know, congrats on that. You know,
Yeah.
we're sorry for, you know, everything you've been through, and, you know, the adversity you've been through, I think also shows who you are today as a person and everything else that you do.
Right. And she's still dealing with those scars to this day. As you can see, it has an effect on her. As, you know, some of the stuff I've been through have an effect on me. And I just want to congratulate you on just being so open to just the public and just to whoever's listening. Big kudos and respect to you, because I usually talk and dive in, but I'm just so zoned into her story already. And I'm really just, you know, I don't know her that well. Like, we just started getting to know each other, but I'm really proud as a person, and I'm proud of you. So was that person the reason, like, you got through everything? Because, like, how did you, like, manage life and going through all that at the same time? Because it was easy for you to, like, really, really, really go left. And you said, you know, your best friend's passing woke you up. But, like, how did you just, like, manage to just go through life with everything that was going on?
I don't think I really went through life. I think I just, I disguised it with, like, the alcohol and drugs. So I didn't go through life. I think right now is when I'm going through life. This is where I'm really living life, and I'm really, like, there's a saying that you see the flowers for the first time. You see like squirrels moving around for the first time. And I got to say that these last years are really when I'm starting to live life. Like I get to I go away on nice vacations, even when I was out there and I was doing these crazy wrong decisions and bad things, I would go on vacations, but I didn't appreciate what life had to offer then. Now I can
Yeah, it's not
actually
the
like
same.
sit back and like look at things differently. So I look at like the flowers. It's corny and stupid to say the clouds.
No, but it's the small things, it's the small things. I feel like a lot of us, don't really appreciate all the time. And, I think it's awesome to hear that you're actually appreciating this, because a lot of people still to this day, haven't even been what you've been through, and they take everything that we have like every day for granted. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's honestly like a beautiful thing. I was also going to say, so I remember when we spoke to you originally, while you were doing this whole waitressing thing, right? Like you said, you also wanted to go to school for medical, and you were really into medical. So like you said, you loved working with people, and medical, I feel like in my opinion, is like one of those jobs that like you're always working with people. Was it like not like what you envisioned it to be, which like made you kind of switch into like this restaurant industry? Or was this like you just don't like seeing? No, it's okay. You don't like, or you just not like seeing like people being sick? I know it's like a little different. It's a different type of working with people, considering
It's going to be really selfish just to say. I mean, I like the medical field. I think that I chose to get into the medical field a little later on in life, and I knew that if I wanted to go anywhere in this medical field, I would have to go to school for a long time. And so when I decided to go to school, I was barely making it, like barely making it through classes.
Like all of
I feel
us.
that on a personal level, bro. I really do.
And so I got into the medical field, and it was like I was dealing with people, but it wasn't like, I don't think I got the gratification that I got when I spoke to people like in the industry. Like I really liked and loved working in the restaurants, and money was good too. I have to say that. And, I had to support a family. I had to support my family, and just being the bare minimal in the medical field, they didn't pay too much. So I always I did that like during the week, and then I would go to my waitress job on the weekends, and that would be Vinny's. And then I realized that I would have to go back to school to really, I guess it's selfish to say I didn't put in the hard work to go back to school. I really liked waitressing. I just liked being around people, talking to people. And I did well.
No, you did the good selfish. You followed what you like to do, as you should. There's nothing wrong with that. Talk about the foundation of like you getting into this restaurant industry and like the journey to where you are now.
Yeah, so how did it all start? Like, what was the journey to get to everything?
I just want to give you your flowers. Like, you're a small business owner and an independent woman per se, and in the restaurant industry, like that's extremely
even
tough,
harder, yeah.
Especially times with COVID per se. So just talk about how you got into it, the foundation, and like I said, to where you at now.
So so there was to be 3 partners in South Brooklyn Foundry when we first opened up, and one I used to go into the store all the time, and there was a partner who's no longer there with us anymore, and I would go into the store all the time, and I would tell him, listen, I want to work in your restaurant, because at that time I was just like going to Vinny's. It was nice. It was the summer, and I was like, I want to work in your restaurant. So when he's like, yeah, sure, we're going through a little red tape, and he said, let me show you the restaurant. And I was like, all right, let me see it. And it was like almost done. And when he opened the door, I was like, oh, wow, I want to be a part of this restaurant. And he asked me if I was serious, and I was like, yeah, I'm serious. I want to be a part of the restaurant. And he was like, well, it's this amount of money. I don't like to get into money things.
Yeah, no, of course.
This amount of money to get into the restaurant, and not realizing that he was giving me such a small percentage of so he took advantage of me too. I won't get into all of that also, but he took advantage of me also. So there was I said to him I wanted to be a part, and he was like, okay, let's get it together and blah, blah, blah. And so the restaurant flew into my hand.
Wow. So like they say, networking can get you indoors, that degrees and what the case may be cannot. Before you go into, with that restaurant, you was just working as a server and a waiter prior in other restaurants per se, right? I remember we talked over the phone, like Casey said, and you said your boss saw you and would try to steer you in the right lane, and then it came to Vinny, and then it came to a point where he had to cut ties.
Oh,
And then that was also one of your wake up calls. Can you talk about that real quick? And then
okay. So yeah, so Vinny, like he was like my like a father figure, and so when all that terrible stuff was going on, when I found people deceased, and I guess I was just masking it up with
Right.
like drugs and alcohol, and he was like, this is tough love, but I need to let you go. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is like, I've been at this place for such a long time, and he let me go. And I think that's why I was kind of available at the time when the other restaurant flew into my hand. And I think I was sober for like 3 years by then. And I wanted to go back to Vinny's. So I wanted to go back and work there. And he was like, no, you're not ready. You're not ready. Then he gave me like a couple of days back there. And then I was working a couple of days there. And then I was like, okay, so this restaurant's going to come in. And then I was like, then I'm going to buy a restaurant. He's like, oh, what do you got, a rocks in your head? He was a little Italian guy. And he was like, no. And he was like, okay, I believe in you. You, if anybody can do it, you can do it. He saw the changes that were starting to happen in me. He saw like the old Kelly coming back. So he saw my changes, and that's how he gave me some tough love. He, like at my lowest point, he threw me out, and I really didn't think that. And that's like, it was like part of like abandonment issues. So this man that I thought was like my dad had to like throw me out of the restaurant, and I think that's what made me even stronger.
it woke you up.
It woke me up, and so I would travel in and out of restaurants for a little while, working here, working there. My friend Lee, this, that. And then he finally like said, okay, you can come back for 2 days. And then this restaurant like fell into my hands.
Right.
And I think I would, even working at Brooklyn Foundry, owning Brooklyn Foundry and still going back there to work too. That's because I wasn't sure where I wanted to be, a business owner, a waitress. Like I was scared of being business owner. I think that I had the mentality of just doing waitressing. I didn't really understand what it meant to be a business owner, like in the early opening of Foundry.
And I was gonna say, so during your early opening, I know you said you didn't want to discuss like the money, but you said you felt like you were getting like lowballed. Like, do you feel like this is because though, like you were a woman coming into this industry that, it's very, like it's like a man's world, I guess, like, do you feel like you were being like lowballed because you were just a woman?
And just overall in life, do you feel like women get taken advantage of?
Absolutely. There's some situations that are going on right now where, me being in the restaurant, I feel like I've been taken advantage of. I had an air conditioner guy come in and take $3,000 from me and didn't fix like one part in the air conditioner. I had somebody else come in to look at the air conditioner, and there was not one part fixed. And because I'm a woman, I really believe that he took advantage of me, and he charged me $3,000 to do nothing, nothing. And I feel that being a woman is a disadvantage, especially being in the restaurant business, because you're always dealing with like vendors and male figures that come in. But I think in the beginning I was a little bit more quiet, and now I'm a little bit more like a tiger. So they're not like, oh, there she is. She's
they shook.
Yeah, they're a little bit. They kind of calmed down now. Like they know me, but in the beginning I was more. Didn't have any knowledge. I didn't have the knowledge,
right?
It took.
And knowledge is power. That's why we all gotta like educate ourselves as to whatever we're trying to do, right? Because then the more you know, the better. But again, you gotta apply it. You can't just have all this knowledge and not do nothing about it. So I think, with everything that's going on with life in general, everything's about trial and error. And whatever your mistakes are, you have to learn about it, study it, be like, why did this happen? And then go about it the next time a little bit different and better. With the restaurant, let's talk about, the journey of just being a restaurant owner. So, all right, he lets you in, you talk your way into becoming a restaurant owner. So you officially networked your way inside of there. That's an accomplishment in itself and it's much respectable. So talk about, all right, now you're a restaurant owner. You're at the Brooklyn Foundry, right? How's it going? How's it going? The first few days, or the first few months per se.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like it's yours now. Like it's literally yours.
So the first few months was a struggle. So there is another partner. I have another partner. He's a chef. His name is Ray Martinez, and so he's my current partner now. But being a woman between two men, oh my God, I gotta feel the struggle of like, yo, I'm here too. I'm here. And it was a big struggle in the beginning. And I want to say the first few months, I want to say that the first guy that brought me into the restaurant, he disappeared totally. So it was like he was gone. He was the majority owner. Me and the chef that's now my 50-50 partner, he's me and him, we were having like struggles too, because this guy was holding things over our heads. I'm majority owner, so we didn't know like which direction we were going into. So in the beginning it was a big struggle. I had gave my whole life savings to buy into this restaurant, and I took a loan out. So I saved a lot of money, and I took a loan out to get it because I have money that I saved for my children, and I won't touch that.
Right.
So my personal money that I saved, and I took a loan out to get into this restaurant that I was like, okay, I'm going to be a restaurant owner. I thought it was going to be all clouds and sunshine and beautiful, and it wasn't like that. And I remember going back to Vinny's, and I was crying, and I was like, I made a big mistake. I don't know what I did. And he's like, no, you're going to be okay.
Right.
And just to hear that from him, it was like, okay, maybe I am going to be okay. But there was so much struggles in the beginning, being the first woman in the front, and then the two men there.
You put all your chips into the restaurant, right?
Correct.
And you took a gamble. You took the risk. But
and
honestly,
you went you went automatically into debt.
Yeah.
So you was negative something.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the craziest part, is because I think even like just from what you said, I feel like even a lot of people in today's world are just so scared to take like smaller risks. And the fact that you were really like willing to risk it all for like your future, I think that's something that like a lot of people can also take in, because I feel like a lot of people also feel, at least in our society nowadays, that like if they feel like there's a safe haven to go to, they're going to go to it because they get very comfortable, And I feel like with your story, the fact that you honestly just put everything in and said, all right, like honestly, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make sure it works. I think that says a lot and speaks wonders, especially from everything like you've come from.
Right. And what she's been through. And it's an eye opener to anyone that's trying to be a business owner. You gotta be willing to just go all in for it. And like Nip said, you gotta be, willing to die for what you're trying to get at in life. And that's just a pure example of it right there. And she's still standing here, so she made it. She made it through. She's still striving. So we was on the phone, right? And you said, Brooklyn Foundry, you had your ups and downs in the first 2 years, right? It was just open 2 years.
We were open 2 years, and I remember when they said that the pandemic was, like, you would hear about COVID coming in.
Right,
Nobody really took
one took it. I was like,
we always talk about this. And it's funny because he tells me this all the time, but like, obviously, while you guys opened up and while you were doing your thing, like I was away overseas. So I was in Afghanistan at the time, and I was serving overseas. So to me, COVID at the time, I know it's not a joke, but to me, like at the time, like I was just like, oh, like I'm overseas, I'm over here, like slap boxing bullets. So like it's just like I'm okay, like I'll be fine. But the way I looked at it was a little bit different, But when I came back home, then I realized like how severe it was, and then when everything really shut down, I think that hit a lot of us. Not just me, obviously, but the whole world, I think, was like in shock that, everything was shut down. So when you heard the pandemic was coming, like, how did that like change for you? Like, how did that impact you as a restaurant owner? And like, what did you do to like keep your restaurant like afloat at the time?
So when COVID was, when we were listening about COVID, I remember that weekend we were fully booked. And I think that people were just starting to know like who South Brooklyn Foundry was. They were like just starting to come in. We were doing some great things for the community. There were a lot of shows that we had, and the food is good, I must say. And we were doing a lot of shows, and I remember being booked that weekend. And Cuomo got on and said that we were going to close, and I was like, what? What do you mean we're going to close? And I got to tell you that I went into a really bad depression at that time. My daughter was having a baby. We still had the crazy partner around, the guy that was like a Capasso. And then we had my other partner, the chef, and I was like, I can't come in. I'm like, I can't do this. And he was like, you stay home. I got you for a while. And then it was like a couple of weeks, and I was like, I can't stay home. have to like get up and fight. I have to get back there. I have to start doing things. And we delivered through the whole pandemic.
Right.
We delivered through the whole pandemic, and I wanted to close it. I was like, let's close. Let's close it up. You know, I was like, well, this is big, but we decided we were going to stay open. And I'm telling you, I went through a really bad depression. I was like, I didn't think I had the fight in me to get back up. And
how did you cope with it at the time? Like, if you don't mind me asking. So like, when you were in this little like funk, like how did you get out of it? Like, what did you do to like get out of it?
well,
Was it just a snap in your head, like pink, like, oh, I gotta get
A
up?
little light bulb clicked.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I was listening to the news every day, and I think listening to the news every day was making me more depressed. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I'm like getting more depressed, and I need to get out of here. And I felt like myself sinking again in that invisible space that I felt that I was in for such a long time. I think I lived in an invisible space for most of my life. And I felt myself sinking into that invisible face, and I was like, let's get up. You got to get up. You got people there. There's employees there. People are counting on you. You got to get up. You got to get back into swinging things. And that's what I did. I was like, let's go. We got to do this. And
that's your baby too. You went on those first. You had
You went all in, so
you had no other choice, you know, to get up, because the sacrifice just to get to where you at, you know, yeah, you get a little, you know, down and out, but the good part is that you got up. You know, as cliche as it sounds, but you got up, because you can't stay down. You know, like you say, yeah, people count on you. You put everything on the line. So it's like, you must get a reward for everything that you sacrifice for.
You know, it's funny because the government gives out all these great like loans and stuff for people that for small businesses. And I think that South Brooklyn Foundry was, I think that we were punished for staying open through the pandemic, because we were not able to get that RRF. It's a restaurant revitalization loan.
Okay.
Because we stood open through the whole pandemic. We made a little bit more money. And when I mean a little bit more money, through 2020, we weren't eligible to get a fund that they were freely giving to every other restaurant. And this was a fund. This wasn't like a loan. This was a fund. And because we stood open and we worked, I think that we were actually punished and we weren't able to get this fund.
Right, but that happens too with also like college students. Like if you make just a little bit extra amount of money, or your family does, like you don't qualify for this grant per se.
Yeah,
it could be, say if it's like $1,000, like say something like, all right, if you make over $1,000, like you can't get this grant or whatever. If you make 1,001, they're not giving it to you.
Yeah.
And you could petition, you could appeal. Like that's something that happened to me, and that affected my college experience, and that's why I had to like bounce around from school to school, because I made a little extra. Something happened, you know, with money, and I was just a little bit above, and I was like, "Are you serious?" And I appealed it, and that's what happened. Like the government just don't play with that, and it's so unfortunate, especially with you, you know, doing what you had to do throughout COVID, putting you and your workers on the line for that. You know, it's just very unfortunate. So did you take a loan to get through COVID?
We did. We took an SBA, it's called an EDLI loan, which is at a very small percentage. But people don't realize that throughout the whole pandemic, even when you were closed, there were still things that the SBA wanted you to do. Like we still had to pay for our liquor license when we weren't able to use our liquor license. It's like, okay, your liquor license is due, the Department of Health license is due, the firemen come in and they want money to run your air conditioner. I don't know if people know this, that you need to pay to run your air conditioner in a New York City restaurant. You have to pay to have your air conditioner running. So there's all these permits that we were closed and we weren't able to use our restaurant.
But you're still paying.
But we still had to pay for. And they didn't give us a break. They didn't say, okay, so you weren't open 1 year, you weren't able to access your liquor license, so only pay half of it. No, they wanted $6,000. And it's hard for restaurants, and especially small restaurants, to come up with this money to give. So when we did get our SBA loan, we paid everybody. We did the right thing with our money. We paid everybody that we owed. And sometimes I'm like, well, do you do the right thing, or you don't do the right thing? But I really think that when you do the right thing, karma comes back.
Somehow, some way it does.
I do.
And just naturally, you just got to do the right thing. A lot of people just, I got to do the right thing so something comes back good to me. I think It just got to be naturally in you, or it's not. And it got to be fully organic. It can't be none
Right.
of that fake-ish. So you overcame COVID, right? Well, you're still going through. There's still, there's so much things going on.
Oh my God.
What the case may be.
So we opened up, and then I think that when they said that we were closing back again, that second blow, when they said, okay, New York City is going to close again, that's when I think that depression really snapped in again. It was like,
I completely forgot we closed second time.
oh my
That's
God,
crazy.
that was like, and then they were like, oh, build these outside enclosures and people will eat outside. And I'm like, eat outside? How are you eating outside? And like,
2-degree weather.
exactly.
no.
I know, like, I guess I was like crazy then. I'm like, yeah, we're going to build the outside enclosure. People are going to eat outside. Nobody ate outside. I was out of my mind, but we built the outside enclosure. And, the second shutdown, it was like right before the holidays. And like, I'm thinking like, how are we going to get money? Like, how am I going to support my family? It's the holidays. We have nothing. And then finally, I don't know how many months they closed us down. I don't even remember. It's just like a blur. I think they opened us back in May
Happened so fast. Yeah, it was like last year of May, because I got back in March in 2020.
Something like that. It's
So I was just like, yeah, I don't remember dates, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and then when they started to open us up again, it was like going into the restaurant every day and just seeing like a space there that was unoccupied. It was like so sad. It was just like, wow, we're like, look at this space we have. It's beautiful. Nobody's able to come in. We did have people that were coming in buying to go and taking out. And I was delivering. I remember I was delivering with an employee that I have now. She's like 4'9". We were like out there in the snowstorms, and I'm like, climb over that cliff. She'd climb over, and like she's like literally this small. She'd fall down into the thing. We were like delivering in the snowstorms, and just to like get money to like pay bills. And sometimes me and my partner, we wouldn't have money. Like it was bad.
So what is I just got a really off the board question. What is like the day-to-day of like your life with the restaurant for anyone out there that wants to, get into this industry or like own a restaurant? So what is the day-to-day for that?
So, I like being out on the floor. I like waitressing, and I do a lot of the back end work too. Like, so I do a lot of like dealing like with the vendors and, trying to get the best deals. But I like being on the floor. So that's like my favorite place is to be on the floor talking to people. I want to say that right now I'm very unsure what the future holds for us, because they're talking about the second strain. Seeing the place full and vibrant right now, and when we have like our shows and people coming in, those are all rewards. Because people are like, wow, this is a great place, and the food is good, the hospitality is good. They just talk about everything that is good. If you look at our Yelp reviews, we're pretty high up there, and that's a reward. That's a reward in itself. So that makes me very happy. But to think about them talking about like this Delta strain, and believe me, I'm not saying COVID isn't, like we shouldn't be worried, but they're asking us to, now we're going to have a bouncer at the door, I guess, to look at these cards that they want people. Yeah, they want people to show their cards in order to come into small businesses. But I want to know why the big corporations are not doing that. It's only small businesses that they're telling that.
But the small businesses always get hurt. The corporations are kind of like always like protected per se.
I understand. I just think that, as for a business owner right now, we need to stick together.
Right. Maybe, you should come up with an idea to try to come up with like, I don't know, maybe a small business union or something like that.
You should ask my partner. I was like, I'm going to go on 3rd Avenue and I'm going to get everybody to sign the petition, because if they think that they're going to shut us down again, we're going to stay open and we're going to fight for our rights.
How do you balance your family life, the restaurant, and your own personal life? How do you balance everything?
And your grandma now, no?
Yeah.
Grandma, congrats.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like, how do you balance all these things? Like, you just juggling. Ding, 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 ding.
I have to tell you, sometimes.
What's the cheat code? Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard.
I'm taking
but
notes.
I know that when I feel that it's getting a little bit stressful, I can be like, I can say to my partner, listen, this is too much. I got to go for a little while. And I like step away for a couple of days. But it is hard. It's hard, because I have an 11-year-old and I have a 28-year-old. So I have a little girl that's home. She's little, so she still needs mommy. And I have my grandson that I would like to spend some time with too. But I think that if you like what you do, it's not that hard to juggle all those things. It really is not that hard. It may get stressful sometimes, but it's not that hard to do. It gets hard. There's ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster. It's up and down kind of. But I never thought that I would be here. A girl like me, I never thought that I would be an owner of a restaurant and be owner of a successful restaurant. I want to say South Brooklyn Foundry
you made
is
it past.
successful.
You made it past. They say most small businesses.
Pretty much, yeah.
They say most small businesses fail within a year, and you made it past that point. And then after that first year, COVID, boom, and then you survived through COVID, and you're still here. And the future is only up from here. What does the future hold for Brooklyn Foundry and yourself and your family?
So, some exciting news. We are actually looking at a second location in New Jersey, and it's on the beach. And I think that this is God's way. I always say, I want to live on the beach. I want to live on the beach. I think this is God's way of giving me that special time of living on the beach, because we are actually looking at a second location in New Jersey, and we're going to probably be signing a lease in October.
Yes.
And I was going to say, so like, as a restaurant owner too, like, I know you're like right there on 3rd Avenue, for some of you guys who don't know, in Brooklyn, but like, so how do you put yourself out there? You know what I'm saying? So how you said you have like these little like special events, and you have like these like crazy rewards for the people. But for people who are listening, like, what are some of these rewards, and what should people expect from your restaurant, like when they come to it, if they ever want to come?
I want to say that everyone's welcome. It doesn't matter religion. Everyone's welcome in the South Brooklyn Foundry. We invite everybody in. We do special shows. We do comedy. We do karaoke. We do something for the older, younger. We do a drag show, the only drag show in Bay Ridge. I just get to know my customers' names. Like, if I know someone's going to walk through the door, I know that they want that white wine. It's more about knowing the people that walk through the door and what they like. And that makes people feel comfortable. That makes people want to come back. You're always going to get good service, good food, and a friendly smile when you walk through the doors.
And I was going to say, so do you feel that, so the South Brooklyn Foundry, do you feel like it's going to be like at one point for you, like a big stepping stone in like the Bay Ridge community? Like, do you feel like the people are always going to come to like this one place all the time, and everyone's just going to be like, wow, like this is the place? Like, do you plan that everyone in Bay Ridge is about to be like, this is the spot to go to? Like, we're going to have people lining up around the block.
I would like to say that we're going to be one of those restaurants. I mean, when people walk in, I always go over to every table and I ask them, how'd you find out about us? Where are you from? What is it? Like, I want to know like who everyone is that walked through the door. And most people say they've either yelped us or someone else has told them about us. So when they're finished eating, I always ask them, how was your food? And most people say it was great. They'll be back. They're going to tell this one. They're going to tell that one. So I would love to be that place in Bay Ridge where everybody's going to be like, you have to go to South Brooklyn Foundry for one reason or the other.
Right. I mean, I got to go there just off, the basis of your story and what Casey told me, even prior to when we met. When Casey told me something, I was like, all right, let's go eat there. Just off the story, because I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. They still here. I need to go check this spot out. And just you being so open and vulnerable about your story. You shed some tears here. I almost shed tears about when I was here and when I shared my story.
Facts.
But you really like let it out. And from your story, what I got is that like everything happens truly, truly, truly for a reason. And like, you need rain for the flowers to shine.
That's so true.
You need that. And, the dark times never last. Like, my dad always told me this quote. He always said, better days are ahead. And you're a clear vision of that. Like, better days are ahead. Look how far you came from what you told us in the beginning of the pod to now. Like I'm just extreme. I said it before. I'm just extremely proud. Much respect. And, this is only the beginning to your story. I'm excited for what's yet to come, and I just thank you for
opening up and coming here. I think, for everyone who's hearing this, I think this is an eye opener for a lot of people.
Right.
And to me, like this humbles this. You always come on this podcast, right? And we talk all the time, but I always like remember like when I hear someone else's story, I always say that, someone always has it harder than you. And I feel like hearing your story just humbled me even more to be like, like if I ever, come to a point where like I know like shit is tough, like I'm like, yo, like I know Kelly did it. Like I know I could do it too. Like I think your story is extremely inspirational. I think for anyone who's watching, regardless of who you are, male or female, because it goes to show you that like literally what Ethan said, like you need rain for the flowers to shine. And I think it's a beautiful story that you've come and you opened up to everyone who's listening in.
And despite you wanting to go left, and even when you did go left, somehow, some way, you ended up on the right path. And that's due to whatever you believe in. But first off, you just got to believe in yourself, and whatever the Most High has planned for you is going to come to fruition somehow, some way. This is just meant for you. The restaurant industry wasn't meant for you to go to this medical school. Unfortunately, all this bad stuff, I don't know, like even with my life, like it just happens for a reason. It's like a wake-up call, and it like puts you on that right track. And it's just, you got to listen to those signs. You got to, with your story, it was good. Like these signs happen, boom, boom, as you notice, and it's still happening. And it's like, it's going to keep happening until you make a decision, that right decision, If you keep on like the GPS, if you keep on making that wrong turn,
recalculating,
it's going to recalculate route until you get on that right path, and it's not going to tell you that no more.
And I think you should also be extremely proud of the people you also have in the room with you. Shout out to some fam and friends out in the back, co-owner, chef, and everyone else here. I think it's important that you also have like great people around you and a great foundation now with you, to keep you going and to keep your business going for you and your family.
I just want to let anybody out there, know, like if you're struggling, you don't have to feel alone. There was so many times where I felt I could be in a room full of people and I always felt alone. And once you get that worth and that belief in yourself, you just got to keep trying, just one day at a time. Just get up and just put your best foot forward. And when you do that, good things happen. I just want everyone to know that.
Right. And it's good to be personable. It's good to be a person that people like, because if she wasn't personable, she wouldn't be a business owner, and she wouldn't be working in those jobs that she had before, or she wouldn't have gotten to know those people that she gotten to know that got her here to this point. And she's only going up from here. So then she's going to Jersey, and then soon we may see her in Vegas, whatever the case may be. So
Gordon Ramsay about to pull too.
So like one important message, like the key thing about this episode, I hope you took notes on what the case may be, is networking, stack your paper, and when the opportunity presents itself, be ready to take action. Don't hesitate. And whatever happens, happens. Life is short. All right, you lose 100,000, you can make it back. As long, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't lose this or that, like your limb. And even if you lose a limb, you got to continue going. We had Gio on here. He lost a limb, what the case may be, but he's still going. As long as you got life, continue going, take the risk, because what do you got to lose? Nothing. You could get it right back. As long as you're breathing, you can get it right back. So we're going to end it like that. Please be sure to check out the Brooklyn Foundry right there in Bay Ridge. What's the address, Casey?
6909 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
Boom.
Be sure to check it out. Bring your friends. Tell your grandma, tell your aunt, tell your cousins, tell your uncles, tell whoever. Bring your pet, whatever.
Bring your kids. Bring your hamsters.
And we appreciate everyone for listening and tuning in. Most importantly, I appreciate her.
Special round of applause for Kelly for coming today and sharing her story. Much love. So
thank you. Boom.
Look, moving different, I'm already custom made. Said you wanna play with me, there's just a different game. Trying to make